People, what up, though? You feel me? I had to put the Trump hat on one more time. You feel me? Had to put them on one time. Had to flop the hair over the hat. You feel me? But nah.
Let's begin with Madeline Rivera live from Washington with the latest on when we can expect this shutdown to officially end. Maddie, good morning.
Good morning, Todd. Well, the vote the Senate took overnight is the first step in a series of procedural maneuvers. And of course, the House will have to vote on the package, too. So it will take a few more days before the government reopens. But Sunday's vote was the first clear sign that a bipartisan deal had been reached after a roughly 40-day stalemate. The Senate voted 60-40 to back a revamped GOP funding bill that would keep the government open until the end of January. 8 Democrats joined Republicans to pass the bill, including Senate Minority Whip Dick Durbin, Senators Tim Kaine, Catherine Cortez Masto, and Jackie Rosen, among others.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me take a picture of that. Because I got to get to learn these. We got to learn. We got to learn the politic game. You feel me? Got to be learned. Got to be learned, baby. Got to learn who these people is in position.
This is the beginning to show and fight for Americans across the country. Let me just say this, with the government open, we can focus on passing a full bipartisan budget for 2026.
I understand that not all of my Democratic colleagues are satisfied with this agreement, but waiting another week or another month wouldn't deliver a better outcome. So let me be clear. No one in the Senate chamber wants to extend the ACA tax credits more than I do.
I joined this group to make sure that we could get important protections for federal employees. And what we have in this bill is the restoration of all the furloughed employees and a guarantee of their back pay.
So despite them touting what they did get, these Dems are facing criticism from their party because the package does not include a deal on Obamacare subsidies. It only includes a guarantee on a vote for the tax credits, far from what progressives and Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer had pushed for.
Tonight, 8 Democrats voted with the Republicans to allow them to...
I'm so tired of Bernie Sanders, man. You need to go sit down somewhere in front of a fireplace with a cup of coffee in one of them assisted living homes and just sit down and just talk. Like, for real. Like, look at him, bro. Then just go somewhere and sit down.
To go forward on this continuing resolution. And to my mind, this was a very, very bad vote. We got a lot of work to do. But to be honest with you, tonight was not a good night.
Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna is already targeting Schumer, saying Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. If you can't lead the fight to stop healthcare premiums from skyrocketing for Americans, what will you fight for? Moving forward, senators need to reach a time agreement before holding a final vote on the package. Then it will only need a simple majority to pass the upper chamber. Todd.
Miles to go before we sleep. Maddie, thank you. With that, let us bring in former advisor to Donald Trump, Jason Miller. And Jason, you heard in Maddie's report the Democrats touting all of the things that they got. But to me, they didn't really get anything. All they got was a promise to hold a vote on Obamacare subsidies. So, Jason, what was the point of all this?
Well, exactly. There was no point. This entire shutdown was unnecessary. It was unneeded. And the only reason why it happened is because Senator Chuck Schumer and other Senate Democrats are scared to death of the extremist wing of their party, the AOCs, and they're worried they're going to get primary challenges. I really think that there's going to be a reckoning here, both from Americans, travelers who are stranded at airports or had flights canceled, members of the military who had to stand in line for food banks because they didn't have money coming in because of what the Senate Democrats did. And also, I think there'll be a reckoning, as we saw from Ro Khanna saying this about Senator Schumer, from the extremist left within the Democrat base saying, Chuck Schumer, why did you cave? So this was completely unnecessary. It was unneeded all along. Senator John Thune said, just simply pass the continuing resolution, open government, then we can talk about health care. But instead, Chuck Schumer decided to hold everybody hostage.
Again,
y'all see that? the government could have been approved. Trump would have been approved it, but he wanted to negotiate about, you feel me? What my man just said, the healthcare and all that stuff. You feel me? And they like, no, we want you to prove this now. We want you to get a migrants insurance now. We want you to take care of these illegal migrants now. And we need that Obamacare back in effect. And turns out Trump waited it out. And even though some people we did have to suffer, but technically Trump was right. He was right. Don't be no hater. Don't be no hater. You hearing it. I'm showing you the evidence right now. You hearing it and seeing it.
The exact same continuing resolution that everybody voted for back in March. Nothing changed except for the
You heard what he
primaries
said.
from the left.
Listen to what he said.
Hostage.
Again, the exact same.
Khan is saying this about Senator Schumer from the extremist left within the Democrat base, saying, Chuck Schumer, why did you cave? So this was completely unnecessary. It was unneeded all along. Senator John Thune said, just simply pass the continuing resolution, open government.
Just simply pass continued resolution.
Then we could talk about health care.
Pass the bill, and then we could talk about health care.
But instead, Chuck Schumer decided to hold everybody hostage.
Chuck Schumer, instead of doing the conflict resolution, he held everybody hostage, which means he didn't sign it, which was the Democrat Party.
Again, the exact same continuing resolution that everybody voted for back in March. Nothing changed except for the primaries from the left that you just mentioned. For the rest of this week.
And now you got 8 people that was in your party that just went against you and basically told you was wrong.
Senate Democrats can really do this the easy way, or they can do this the hard way. They can fast track the process to get this to the House quickly, or they can force it to just drag on all week long. Which path do you think the Democrats in the Senate will choose?
I think even though many of the Senate Democrats will echo the thoughts of Bernie Sanders saying that they didn't like this vote, I think the reality is that the vast majority, the biggest group of Senate Democrats are glad that some of their colleagues caved because this is what everybody wanted. There was no one at home who was saying, Senators, thank you for keeping the government shut down. This was massive chaos. We saw what it did to the markets. We saw from Secretary Bessent saying the impact that this has had on the economy. And Americans want to get going with life. And we don't want to be held up and held hostage by nonsense political games.
All right, I'm going to put this in the category of good news, even though obviously we didn't need to get here this way. This other thing could really be good news. Let's get to this now. President Trump promising a tariff dividend to all Americans. Quote, people that are against tariffs are fools. We are now the richest, most respected country in the world with almost no inflation and a record stock market price.
You hear that? You hear that?
401ks, our highest ever. We are taking in trillions of dollars and will soon begin paying down our enormous debt, $37 trillion. Record investment in the U.S., plants and factories going up all over the place. Here's the key part, Jason, a dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone.
Donald Trump just care about, he just care about the rich. Donald Trump just care about the rich. People are against tariffs as fools. Y'all wasn't against them when the Clintons told China they can tax us and all that stuff. When everybody's taxing us, we not a fool. But when we decide to tax people, now we a fool. I don't understand. Like it's people just look at it. You feel what I'm saying? We are now the richest, most respected country in the world with almost no inflation, a record stock market price. 401ks are the highest ever. We are taking in trillions of dollars and will soon begin paying down our enormous debt of $37 trillion. That was not under his administration. With all Democrats got us in. Record investment in the USA. Plants and factories going up all over the place. A dividend of at least $2,000 a person, not including high-income people, will be paid to everyone.
Jason, how realistic is this? Could our bank accounts actually see a boost?
So I love this idea from President Trump, and this is the way that he always.
Then you go get people to say, "Well, 2,000 ain't nothing." 2,000, man. Do you realize 80% or maybe 90% of people don't even have $1,000 saved up in their bank account? So you better not sit here on the internet and talk about $2,000 ain't nothing. Kick rocks.
Outside of the political norms and says he can deliver for the American people, we're still digging our way out of the hole that Joe Biden left us. 4 years of absolute financial chaos. And we're seeing what
That Joe Biden left us.
President Trump is doing with a big, beautiful bill, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. But many Americans are still struggling to get back on foot after what they saw from Joe Biden. And so I think this idea to take $2,000 per person with the exception of the higher wage earners and say, let's give Americans a little bit of a boost here, let them get some of that credit that's coming in from the tariffs, I think would be a great shot in the arm. It'll dovetail right with what President Trump is doing by bringing down gas costs and other costs of keeping inflation low. So I love it. I hope they do it.
I hope they can do it, but also pay down the $37 trillion in debt that Jason Miller, thank you, sir, for getting up with us on a Monday.
And there you have it, man. Trump all over the place. Trump doing all type of stuff, bro. You can't don't talk me. Trump doing